What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about MultiVersus. Actually, for the first time in years, why I'm going to be picking this game up when it launches or relaunches on May 28th. And, you see the title, you see the thumbnail. I truly do keep forgetting that this game, maybe not doesn't exist, but I do forget that this game is re-coming out. I think it had, to me, and, I play a lot of different games, but fighting games is probably one of my least played genres of them. I don't pay too much attention, so you got to take it with a grain of salt, but it's just been a weird lead up to this for me. I've seen a lot of stuff on MultiVersus on Twitter. I haven't seen too much of it basically elsewhere, and I constantly do forget that the game is coming out. At the same time, this game, again, while the launch to me was very, very weird in how it was all handled, I actually quite liked it. Like, I remember playing it, and I remember playing it actually to the point I was playing it nightly. I was doing the challenges, I was doing the unlocks, and I had a pretty good amount of fun. Now, I think I kind of fell out of love with it in the same way that you saw the numbers drop, right? Like, the big thing with this game, right, is it comes out, it does unbelievably well for whatever you want to call it, a beta, early access, whatever. It does 10, 20 million people. But then within, 6 or so months, it loses basically 99% of them, right? This game absolutely fell off a cliff. And, like, for me, I actually didn't have that many problems. For me, it was I play a lot of different games. It was never going to be a game that I did play daily. When the updates kind of stopped, right, when the characters kind of stopped, or even when they were characters that I just wasn't really all that into. And actually, at a point, it did kind of stop. So sitting here, and weirdly enough, I believe since they've taken this game down, it's only been slightly over a year. I think they took the game down back in February or March of 2023. That's kind of wild because I probably last played it in like the fall of 2022, probably like October, November, December of there. So it has been a while for me. But to be honest with you, although I tend to forget about, it coming out, I actually, when I get reminded, I actually am quite excited because this game served a purpose for me back then that I feel like it can work now. And it also, by the way, it doesn't hurt that when it comes to just games in general, we are in a pretty slow period. Now, there is quality, but there isn't exactly quantity. And I'm not saying that's like the worst thing of all time. In fact, I think that helps a game like MultiVersus. For May, you got Hellblade 2 coming out right before it. You got MultiVersus coming out the 28th. You go into June and you got like the killer clowns of the world. You have Elden Ring's DLC, which I think is going to be enormous. But you look at June, July, August, and even if a couple games fill in some gaps here and there, it's going to probably be a pretty slow summer. Summers tend to be slower, especially July and August, but I think this one might be extremely slow. Again, I love my backlog, and I have a lot of games I need to play. I think that helps out MultiVersus, and that's why I bring it up, right? Like, why would I be excited for it? I think it fills a void for me where, and this is what it did years ago, right? It was able to kind of slot in as a reoccurring game. I talk often about Rocket League. Rocket League, to me, is a game that I can always go back to. It's actually one of the only live service games that I've ever, I guess, supported in the way of playing it. I haven't bought anything from it, but I do play it a ton. I think like 400 plus hours in its entire life. But I like those kind of games where if I am just feeling like I'm in a lull or, I'm burned out of playing single player or like these gigantic, 70-hour big games, I can maybe go back and play a Rocket League or play. I used to do like Dead by Daylight, right? But I think MultiVersus, at least when it came out originally, it was a game that every night, and I honestly, as I settled into a routine, I would do maybe like 30, 40 minutes a night. But I liked it. I liked the combat. I liked the characters. I liked the map. It had a cool feel to it. And I saw that like one of its main problems that kind of hurt it was the lag. I do remember experiencing lag. Now, again, from my perspective, I don't play a ton of Street Fighter or Tekken or even Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat I've actually played primarily for the story, not for the online play. So, for me sitting here, it's like, well, do all games feel like this? Probably not. But like, okay, is it something I'm going to tolerate? I guess I'll tolerate it. I think the lag was worse for some people than it was for others. I don't remember it ever getting to the point where it was like atrocious where I had to stop or anything. Again, for me, it was just when things started to die down, when the characters started releasing less and less. And then if I wasn't interested in a character, then it's like, well, I would just play as Batman, or I would just play as this character, that character. It's like, well, I just don't need that. eventually my motivation or my want to play the game is going to decline. And again, biasness or my own thing that you should know, like, I think regardless that would happen anyway. Even when this game comes out, at the end of May, it's not a game I'm going to play daily. Maybe at launch I will. Maybe for like the first 2, 3, 4 weeks, maybe I would play it daily. But I think as time goes on, eventually it would be not daily, maybe weekly, maybe even monthly. But, that's just me. And for me, this game would satisfy something where I had a lot of fun playing it. Like, I just thought it was kind of a blast. I'm not, like I've mentioned before, like, these are not games I'm good at, and these are not games that I play all that much. I do like Smash Bros, and actually my favorite of all time, which I think I've said this before, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. I'm sorry, I got to go there. I think that's the best one, and I honestly had just so much fun playing that. That's the one that I actually got probably the best at in terms of really learning everybody's moveset. I'm not really that guy, right? Maybe Mortal Kombat. I played like 6 Mortal Kombat games before 1 came out, last year, and maybe some characters I got a little okay. I kind of remembered some combos in my head. That's about as good as you're going to get from me. Honestly, MultiVersus kind of has the feel where if you want to get really good, you can. But if you also want to, if you're also just not good like I am, you might be able to enjoy it. And I did. I think it proved that years ago. So as long as it kind of carries that over and then has a good amount of updates to it, right? Needs to come out complete because this is the finished product, and then they need to keep those updates going for as long as they want the game around. They don't need to necessarily update it forever, but once you stop, the game is probably going to die out shortly after. That's already been proven. So they do got to be careful how they handle it, but I'm excited for it. So this is one that if I can remember, which, okay, as it gets closer, of course I'm going to remember, I will be picking this game up. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.